Hey everyone, welcome back. This is Mandy, and I have quite a bit of time limitations coming up, and so I had this idea to do like a throwback Thursday and share some videos of pieces that I really liked in the past. But I'm going to voice over and try to speed them up a little bit. So this bloom that I'm going to share with you, I actually did with two friends, Muna and Jody. We did blooms with an earth tones theme. And in the video, you can't see how gorgeous it dried because the colors, especially the interference colors, mix up really, really beautifully. And under resin, like there's no way to capture that until you see it finished. But what I'm showing you here in this video is I had been playing around with some Colourarte interference colors, and I had been mixing um, some of the regular interference with some of the sparkle colors and kind of creating some cool effects. So I had tried it with a couple of different colors and kind of spread them out on some swatches of white and black paper. So what I'm showing you here is that I'm going to take interference gold and mix in red sparkle. And so that's one of my favorite combinations. And I actually do use it in this piece. I also like to take interference red and mix in gold sparkle. So all I'm basically doing here is mixing it into my bloom pouring medium so that I can kind of create them before I do the bloom. So I kept this part a little bit slower so you can see what I'm doing because, a lot of my viewers now may not have seen where I would do stuff like this, and it's a really fun way to use your interference colors. So, ooh, it's blurry. So the interference colors, the regular ones, have a fine particulate. So they're, very pearlescent and fine, and it's probably way more than I need. And so the sparkle has a little bit of a larger particulate, almost like a really small glitter. And now Colourarte makes something called diamonds, which are an even larger particulate. So you could do this with those too, and that would be pretty fun. But that's kind of what I'm working on in this video before I do this little bloom with you. But I thought you might like that. So you can see the different colors or the different size particulate in the interference red sparkle here. Okay, so I'm mixing this directly into my pouring medium. I used to make my pouring medium ahead of time with the varnish. If I were to do this today, I would mix those into my Jo Sonja gloss varnish until they're fully dissolved, and then I would just add a little bit of the untinted house paint. I currently use Infinity from Behr. No, Dynasty from Behr. But at the time of this video, I was using Infinity from Sherwin-Williams, which is also good. I still have some. So, um, but I'm just letting you know if I were to mix this today, I would dissolve it first in Jo Sonja. It just mixes a little bit easier. And you get a better shot at really dissolving your particulates really well. But you can see it's really, really beautiful. You can't really tell the impact of that red. Right now, it just kind of looks like interference gold. But you will be able to tell when it's resined. And I'm going to have to see if I have the resin results saved somewhere where maybe I can put it at the end of this video. I'm not sure if I do or not, but I do think I recorded it as a short at some point. So maybe I can find it. So now I just added a little bit more pouring medium. When you're dealing with pigments, you never want to take just a big tub of pouring medium and then dump a bunch of pigments in it. You're never going to see the same color saturation. You want to get your pigment nicely mixed up in a kind of a small batch and then add a little bit more after that. That way you don't lose so much of your color saturation. I know that sounds silly, but it really makes a difference when you're dealing with pigments. It's sort of like drowning the precious little particles your pouring medium. So anyway, I'm going to speed it up now after I show you my colors, but I wanted to explain what I was doing there. Okay, so now I'm going to show you what this color looks like. So the color I showed you in the very beginning that's kind of on the top of this paper that's more reddish, that's the interference red with the gold sparkle. So this is the interference gold with the red sparkle. So you'll see the color, the interference color that you use, the finer color, the finer the particle, that will be the more dominant color. But this gold will have like a red shift. So I actually do end up using both of them in the bloom. So the one that has the more dominant red shift, you'll notice between that and the Firefly color that I use, which has, it's almost like a very soft caramel pink color. It really gives a lot of depth to the bloom, but I wanted to show you what these looked like on the paper. All right, so as you can see, I was painting over a failed-ish bloom, which has a whole bunch of measles. Anyway, the colors we're using are very autumny, so I thought that this would be a particularly fun throwback in light of that, since it's fall after all. I also think that a similar color palette would be fun using the new ginger color from the Vivid Intense set. Is it Spiced Ginger? Anyway, I think it would be neat. All right, so this first color is Golden Honey. This is a Prism Pour color that is no longer made, but I still really love it. I still have some of it. It's like a soft gold, but it's super sparkly. So I think some colors that could compare to it might be like Solar Flare from Colourarte. It's a gorgeous gold. So as you can see, I like it. I used a lot of it. This is a primary element called Autumn Leaf, and I'm sorry I wasn't good about showing you the colors up close, but it's a nice warm reddish brown. Beautiful color. And so now we are using what we just created, the interference gold with red sparkle. And next up, I'm going to use the interference red with gold sparkle. So, it's hard for you to see what they would look like because they just probably look like pearl white, right? So, but when you see them spread out over the color, you see the color kind of peeking through. Oh, interference colors are so much fun. And then I'm going to use a color called Firefly, which is a primary element. And as I mentioned earlier, it's like almost kind of like a creamy color with like a taupe hint of color, but it has like a pinkish red shift. So it's a really, really beautiful color to add, almost like you would add an interference color. So this is what it looks like. It looks pretty unassuming, right? But it's gorgeous. So a great deal of what makes this bloom end up looking so pretty is colors like this and the interference colors. Like the colors we're using are very beautiful. I am going to use Australian Sienna, which is a gorgeous color from Matisse. And it's especially beautiful in like this color palette. I put a little more autumn leaf on. But I use a ton of the Australian Sienna because I was trying to use up what was in the tub. And so then I end up having to kind of like balance that so that it doesn't completely take over, because as you can see, it's kind of a very warm, almost golden yellow. And I used way too much of it, but it's a really beautiful color, and it is a transparent color, so it's going to give room for some of those other colors to show. But yeah, I just kept laying it on. Anyway, you'll see in a minute, I'm going to use Australian Floetrol with titanium white Amsterdam paint for my Cell Activator. And I'm actually using the world's smallest blower to blow this out, so that should give you some idea of how dated this video is. Because I no longer really use that for anything bigger than 6 inches, but at the time I was trying to do bigger blooms, and I was trying to, that was really the only thing I was getting success with at the time was my little blower. So I just tried to make it work. So all I drizzled on the top there was some more of our interference mixture, just so that we had something other than the sienna color at the top. So now we are going to throw down our Cell Activator, and we'll blow it out. And I'm going to see if I can find, obviously I'll bring you in for a close-up, but seeing this dry and resined is so different than how it looks wet at the end of this video. So there's me just expanding my target there. So when you do use the world's smallest blower, you'll notice that I'm kind of trying to go right at the edge of the previous part and come from the center out. So you want to kind of basically use the blower to scoop up some of your cell activator in the center, and then get basically the blower to do the rest of the work for you. If you don't do it like this, especially if you use it in a larger piece, I messed it up right there, then all you're going to get is those weird fingerling things. So it's important when you're trying to use the blower to kind of go right next to where you just blew, but gather some cell activator from the center. This happens to be a rather lucky blowout for this size with the blower, because unfortunately anything bigger than 6 or 7 inches is a gamble, but it kind of looks like a sun. You know, if the sun, if you could see like brown spots in the sun. There's definitely some places I messed up, but the center looks nice. I did use a lot of cell activator, so that gave me some ability to kind of maximize my efforts, but we don't have so much in the center that everything's going to be crazy looking. So anyway, I was pleasantly surprised with this one. So now we're going to spin it out, just kind of work with our composition a little bit. You can see that obviously we have the most cells and lacing in the center. We don't have as much on the outside, and a lot of that is using that blower, but it's still really pretty. So, and so what's kind of fascinating about this is, like, right now it just looks like primarily like a yellowish brown bloom, which is not bad. But when you see it dry and resined, like when I saw it dry, I was like, wow. So I'm going to bring you in for a close-up here. Okay, so this is a little bit difficult to see because I'm holding it up to the camera versus shifting my camera above the piece, but you can see in some places when it moves, you can see the influence of that interference red. I did find the close-up of the resin result, so I'm going to see if I can add it to the end of this video. I think I was really surprised by how much I loved this color palette. It was like fascinating to me. Anyway, I know this is one from the way back, and so thanks for watching this Throwback Thursday video with me. So I'm going to show you the resin result next. All right, so here it is resined. Sorry about the shorts watermark. I had to download it from YouTube. But you can see the impact of those colors that you probably couldn't see before. So really beautiful. So thanks for joining me on this Throwback Thursday, and looking forward to more.